Are we rolling? We're back rolling, and goodness gracious, Brad, it is trade season, and you think when it's going to be an early day, we're going to call tonight, enjoy ourselves, we'll stop traffic. We had to go back live, so if you're tuning in, appreciate you guys. Welcome back into the Ryan Ripken Show. Trade deadline specials, and the reason why we're going live, two of the biggest relief arms actually went in back-to-back moves, within the hour, Brad, of each other?
Yep.
The Mets and the Phillies rivals are the ones that make the moves. We'll explain all of it was, but Duran and Helsley are going to the Phillies and the Mets, respectively, and we're going to see how it's all going to rock and roll from here. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 2:30 to 4:30. And then during trade deadline week, it gets a little bit funky. So, Brad, wow, to start with it. And also, are we streaming live? Exactly. I'm having trouble seeing it on my screen.
I don't know if we are or not, actually.
That's what I was curious of. I'm trying to see if anyone in there can let us know. I think
YouTube says we are.
Oh, okay, then we're live.
Yeah.
So let us know then, for people in the chat, if you are able to see us. But go through the deal real quickly. Let's start with one. And let's start with the Duran news because that was the first one that came through. The Twins traded their all-star caliber closer, one of the best that was available apparently, to the Phillies in exchange for Mick Abel. And they got Eduardo Tate, I'd like to say, and he's a catcher down in Class A with massive power. So we will talk about that. It's a good haul. It's two big prospects for the Phillies. And on the flip side right here, the Cardinals are trading Ryan Helsley, their power closer, to the Mets, which the Mets were already busier earlier today. And in return, the Cardinals are getting Jesus Baez, right-hander Nate Dom, and right-hander Frank Elisalt. I hope I pronounced that right. So, that is the move. We'll get into all of them, but instant reaction here, Brad, and I think it's starting to pop through now. I'm starting to see some numbers. Yep. Hey, now. Yeah. Then we know that we're live. Thank you guys for letting me know. We're live. Massive moves for two teams that we actually heard we're going to make moves, Brad. So of all the teams, the two teams that said that they were going to make a splash, they made a splash.
It almost seems like there's this, I don't know how to describe it. It's like the Mets make a move and the Phillies are like, okay, we got to make a move now too. And it's almost kind of like, let's see they're playing a game of chicken and seeing who moves first. This makes a lot of sense for both teams. I would say the Cards got a haul for Helsley. I think that's a really great trade for them. And obviously, a good trade as well for, on the receiving end. So I think that there's lots to be excited about if you're a Mets and Phillies fan. And even if you're a Cards fan, those who are selling into contending teams, looks to be so far that there's been some decent trades. I don't know how you could be mad at this if you're a Cards fan right now.
No. So why don't we dive into that prospect list for the Cardinals or in the Mets deal? Mets and Cardinals first. So I'm going to pull up here in just a moment on what it looks like from a standpoint of who they got from the Mets, because it's still on the Mets prospect list. And I'm going to take a couple screenshots here because we got to go down a little bit to get some of the other pieces involved.
While you're doing that, I just wanted to add too, the Mets have been very active. I mean, let's not forget that they've already acquired Soto as well. They're really starting to
and Rogers, another reliever from the Giants,
and Rogers. So there's a lot that's happening with them. It really does feel like they're trying to go all in and win this season. I wouldn't surprise me if we see them make a deep run. And what they really needed was help on their bullpen. They're doing that, and I think that this sets them up to really make a strong push into the end of the season. If you're a Mets fan, you've got to love this stuff. I think that Cohen's doing some really great things. I think that there's a lot to like about what the Mets have been doing this trade season.
Yeah, I mean, well, they said, we're going for it. We're going to sign Soto. And they signed him to the largest contract in baseball history. And then they followed it up with, well, we're going to continue to make our team better. They re-signed Pete Alonso.
I was just about to say, they made it work with Pete.
And, Pete's going to get paid this offseason even more.
Yep.
But then you know what? They say they're right there. They believe that they can win in the National League. They were in the NLCS last year. They rode the momentum. And now they solidified where it's an argument now that the Mets might have the best bullpen as far as guys that could be their 7, 8, or 9. We'll dive into that in just a moment. But let's look at who they got, okay, for the Cardinals then, because we'll go to the other side and then we'll talk about Ryan Helsley. That's the main guy. We'll explain why they are so damn good. But let's look at this situation. And yes, Daniel, I see about overpaying for Rodgers. We'll talk about that. But this is what happens at the moment when teams feel desperate or they want to buy. Sellers can really cash in. And if you were going to give up a all-star caliber closer, which these guys are, you're going to pay a pretty price. So let's look at some of these Mets where they rank, at least where Nate Dom is right there at 14 on their list. 6'4" righty that can get it up there a little bit below. I'm going to read you guys the background on him because it's harder to see. So for Dom, he's a guy that has a little bit above average fastball. Will sit in that 93 to 95, 96 range, curveball, slider, changeup. Main two pitches are his best pitches, fastball, slider, and his curveball is slightly graded below. But right now, his numbers between two levels in A ball and high A, he's gone 62 2/3 innings this year, 56 hits, 77 punchies, and guys are hitting 234 against him. So that's the one. But the main one that people are going to be looking at, Brad, in this deal is going to be Jesus Baez.
Yes. The
shortstop is their 8th overall prospect. Let me see if I can pull that up real quickly for this list. Yeah, in some ways, not that this isn't a good deal for the Cardinals, but I think because of when you're looking at the price tags of guys, I thought maybe they could have gotten a little bit more, but it's still, I like what they got. So Jesus Baez right here, what the Cardinals are saying, let's get a little bit younger. These guys are maybe 3, maybe 2 if they play hot, but 3 years away from really impacting the team at the big league level. So Jesus Baez right there, high A as well. And when I pull up, this is what his numbers are going to look like when I tell you guys. He is hitting from 2 levels so far this year, hitting 242. Numbers aren't crazy jumping off. 10 home runs, 42 RBIs. But the biggest thing for him, guess what year he was born? Well, he was born in 2005. So he's 20.
I can't believe that.
He's 20 years old. It's crazy, right?
Yeah,
the 20-year-olds. So a guy that has plus power and has a very strong arm and was one of their international additions in January of 2022. So a player with upside, but obviously is going to have to continue how to hit at a better clip. But when you're young and you're trying to figure things out, and I just mentioned he's got 10 jacks on the year, you are going to get some options, right? So, and again, if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Yeah, Brad, people tuning into this already, which we appreciate you guys. This is, we're having fun. And I guess you can wonder why. We're based out of Baltimore here, and don't worry, the Orioles are going to be making some more moves here, whether people like it or not.
I agree.
Because look at this, what this market's drawing here. And I saw some comments, and you're looking at this, and there's Zach Bollinger, friend of the show, friend of the program, co-host of the show. And if you're a team and have any valuable relievers you don't want, I would sell immediately.
Yes.
Case in point, you're going to get some returns, and now teams are going to get desperate. So for the Cardinals, they cashed in. Could they have maybe gotten value of a higher level? Sure, but they went for the younger upside plays rather than some guys that are a little bit seasoned and closer to the big league level. Let's go to the Phillies then in this case, because you know what? Duran is a power arm, and they're both very good pitchers. But what the Twins got back for Duran was very, very good. I mean, very, very good. Actually, before I do that, let me pull up Ryan Helsley's stats. So let's close the door on Helsley for a second. Helsley, I apologize. A guy last year who thought that he might get traded because he was dealing last year, Brad. And I mean, dealing. Helsley last year had a ERA of 2.04, 79 punchies in 66 innings, right? 49 saves to only 4 blown saves. This year, 21 saves, 5 blown saves, 3 ERA, 36 innings, but only 41 Ks. So the Ks are down as far as the power stuff for him. But still, he's going to be slotted in as a guy that can close out games with Diaz, but might be the 8th inning guy, or they could flip-flop. It's a good move, again, for the Mets, and we'll talk about the deal they made with Rogers earlier. But you know what? They made the deal because what the Phillies just did, and they got Jhoan Duran, who is an absolute stud. And I'll lead off with, if you guys don't know or following Duran's stats, shall we? Just overall, his stuff, what he brings. He's the guy that's pitching the best of the two right now between Helsley and Duran. On the year, goodness gracious. 2 ERA, 49 innings pitched, 53 Ks, 16 saves, only 2 blown saves over the time. Obviously, the Twins are struggling. And maybe I'll just pull up his baseball savant, Brad, because I think that will do it more justice on his stuff.
Yeah.
On all of it. But
guys, stay tuned too. I actually have a couple of, we were just talking about relievers. Zach brought up a great point. I have one reliever that I still think could be a hot on the market. We're going to talk about some other trade possibilities here coming up. If we're not talking about your team right now, chances are we probably will. So make sure you're staying tuned while Rip pulls it up. You ready to go?
Yeah, we're rocking it here. Here's Duran's profile. So those that forgot of what he could do. Well, his fastball gets up to 100. Not gets up, it gets up above 100. So it's a power fastball, and he's got a power split. And I mean an extremely, extremely powerful split.
Basically a 98-mile-an-hour split. That's the stuff of like Felix Bautista territory right there.
It's pretty nuts, right? And I'm not saying it's going to be at that range for a while, but imagine the movement when we talk about Bautista. What makes him effective? When you have a fastball right there, if we're looking at the red, you're having that type of movement that's a little bit higher, has a little bit of that rise, or maybe it's going to tail off a hair.
Yep.
And that split that's kind of, well, it's not doing that, and it's enough to throw the hitter off.
It's got a trap door.
Right, but Felix is more drastic in my opinion.
Yeah.
Where it's the heater's almost 96 to 98, and then the splitter drops to 89 to 91, and it's 2 different movements. One rises, and Felix's really drops off. Duran, because he throws it so damn hard, it has a slightly different movement to it, but still very effective. And then, yes, he'll mix in his curveball, but his main 2 pitches that he throws 72% of the time, it's going to be that fastball and split piece. So now that we've talked about that, let's explain who the Phillies gave up. And actually, people wondered what it would take to get a closer like that. It was going to take a pitcher with high potential, and they didn't give up Andrew Painter, their number 1 overall prospect, one of the top pitching prospects in all baseball, but they gave up their next guy in Mick Abel, who is a big league ready arm, and I know he's had some struggles to start off his big league career, but he comes in, if I pull this up right now, and always, as you guys know, over or under 3 seconds, it's always my rule, always take the under. Here we go. So they got Mick Abel at 6 right there, who has had some starts in the big leagues. And if you've watched it, he had a great start to his career up there. And then, things weren't the best. Has 6 games started, 25 innings, 25 hits, 7 homers, 21 Ks, 9 walks. So guys are starting to hit him around. But in the minor leagues, he had a 2.31 ERA in AAA, or currently that's what it is. And he has been very, very good. 81 punches in 74 innings and a batting average against of 200. So it's a guy with stuff. But I think what's even more impressive for the Twins here, Brad, said they got the 4th prospect in this list. And Eduardo, I'd like to say it's Tate.
Yes, it's Tate.
It's Tate.
Yeah.
So they got a guy with a lot of power, only 18 years old. And you guys can talk about a catcher with power, young. The Orioles got one of those down the farm.
Yes.
Who's ready to break through to Baltimore here any damn day. But here you go. You get the 4th and 6th best prospects in the Phillies organization. And Minnesota was already saying, hey, we're willing to sell. And Brad, I'll be honest, I don't know if they sell Joe Ryan now. This is between, I heard Joe Ryan and Duran. You sold your closer. You got a good starting pitcher. If he grooms and you got this young player that's for the future, it's a good, I think I like this move, the potential even more than the Mets.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I would say they always talk about there's always a loser and a winner in trades. This to me doesn't feel like that. It feels like both teams got what they wanted and what they needed.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. I'm with you on the need. And the Phillies, and Dave Dombrowski kind of hinted at this, is that they were going to be players. And guess what? They're playing ball.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think they're done. I don't. The Mets, I'm kind of curious because they did make a move earlier in the day where they got Rodgers from the from the Giants.
Yes.
And you're kind of sitting there.
Rodgers had what, 1.8 ERA?
Oh, he was shoving out there. Absolutely shoving. And I actually just saw a comment here from Bob Melvin, their manager, recently.
Yeah.
And his quote was, we put the front office in a tough spot after they just traded Tyler Rodgers. And guess what? It's true. The Giants looked like that they were going to be big buyers, and they went after Devers, and they were going to do all of this, and they haven't played well.
No. They've
fallen back. So what do you have to do? You got to make tough decisions, and this was a decision that definitely hurts for Giants fans, but you got to return. Right now, if you're looking at what their bullpen could be, Tyler Rodgers, Ryan Helsley, and Edwin Diaz are the three that can close out your game for the Mets. That's pretty damn good. That is really, really damn good. And the deal then for Rodgers, Jose Butto, Blade Tidwell, and Drew Gilbert. And so they got a haul right there like that. I would argue for what they got for Rodgers right there, might have even had almost as much value as they got for Helsley, just given three players. You have the upside.
Yep.
And going back to it, you got an outfielder with upside. You just got, I think that they moved. Did they move them already over? They did. Nice. Let me see where they rank now in the Giants system. Had it right here. Don't you worry. If I can spell. Yes, there it is. Yep. So Blade Tidwell and Drew Gilbert slot into the 12 and 13 spots over there now. And let me see. What was the final piece of that deal? Was Jose? I don't see Jose on that. That I think was going on when we were just finishing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe he's not on the list there. Not a prospect in that regard. No, he's not. Relief pitcher, so big league arm. Okay, that makes way more sense. Can't be a prospect if you're a big league arm. And for the Mets this year, had a 3.64 ERA in 34 games. So he essentially fills that spot. Tidwell's an upside starter. And then Drew Gilbert, obviously outfield, where the Giants are trying to reconfigure their team, where they like their pieces, but they're trying to figure out what's next. But Tyler Rodgers, sensational year so far this year, Brad. Yeah. You said this earlier. Steve Cohen saying, screw it, I ain't messing around.
Yeah.
Tyler Rodgers so far this year, in case you guys are keeping track.
Well, you know what, too? Like, Steve Cohen was guilty of just throwing money at this team and just expecting a World Series. And now it seems as if Steve, while he still has the money to spend, he's spending it wisely and making those moves that he needs to. I mean, look, if you're trying to get past the Dodgers in the National League for the World Series, I think he's making some really good moves towards that. I'm not ready to say the Mets are going to take it to the Dodgers because I still think the Padres are going to get in their way, but they're on the right track here. I like the moves.
And especially the National League's interesting because, you're fighting the Phillies and the Mets they're fighting each other in the AL East, but they still got
NL East.
Sorry, the NL East, but you're still fighting Goliath over there and the Dodgers and the Monstars. And then the Padres, right? Like
damn good team.
They're 3.5 out.
Yeah.
And they are electric playing at home. Obviously, they have Derry Bonds over there and Gavin Sheets that has led the charge. Obviously, yes, Fernando Tatis Jr. is pretty good.
Manny Machado
is
Hall
pretty
of Famer.
good. Merrill, the rest of their staff, their starting staff, they got a good bullpen. You guys get my point. It's a good team out there.
Yeah.
It's a very competitive National League. The Milwaukee Brewers are the best team in that league at the current moment.
Which
Hell,
is crazy.
They're the best team in baseball from a record percentage-wise at 64-44, but then the Cubs. So the Mets and Phillies said, screw it. Relief pitchers are at a premium. We're going to go make this move right now so the Dodgers can't clean it up, so the Padres can't clean it up, Cubs, Milwaukee, etc. But Chicago, Brad, they're still looking for pitching help.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, we're in Baltimore. They've been linked to potentially going after some starters in Baltimore and elsewhere. And Milwaukee's that team I can't fully figure out yet, Brad, because
Me either.
They could make a move.
But do they need to?
And that's a lot of people would always say yes.
Well, I think people that say yes, they're saying yes because they just want a trade to be made for the sake of making a trade.
Mm-hmm.
But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I don't know if there's anything broke with them right now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're playing some damn good ball. They have been the best team over the last, month, 2 months, whatever the hell it's been.
Yeah.
Shout out my guy, Blake Perkins, too. Perky came back from the IL, was hurt in spring training or going into it. Was former roommate of Ryan Ripken when we were at the Nationals.
Oh, there you go.
Good kid. But I digress. Teams are going to have to make moves here, Brad. And why don't then, in this case, I'm going to pull up the standings to give people just an idea of how close this wild card is in both divisions and why, we saw the Angels actually bye today, which was shocking.
Yeah.
But I think this is why we don't know what's going to happen. But we do know what can happen is that you can hit that like and subscribe button while we're talking about all these moves, because we're going to be doing this live tomorrow from 2 to 6 for the Ryan Ripken Show in making this happen. So we would love to see you guys there tomorrow, but we'll be talking here, and hit that like and subscribe. For our Holy Shirts and Pants members and channel members, Rips, good kids, appreciate you guys. We need to talk later, and that'll just be for you guys so we can talk about, I know, the Rip After Dark, but I will also put in some notes. I know you guys are a lot of Orioles fans. I put in a post last night that I have some ideas of maybe what we can see over the next 36 hours at the time of the post. But I want to answer more of your guys' questions, so I'll put out a post so we can talk about that later on. So if you guys can, if you want to join the channel, helps us out here, helps us build what we're building here, that'd be great. We'd appreciate that. So let's look at the standings, though. Brad, this was kind of my point.
Yep.
Look how many teams could say, make the case, like, yeah, we're in it. Like the Angels made the case, we're in it. And they're 2 games under 500, 4 games out.
Yeah.
They made the trade with the Nats, acquired 2 pitchers. Tampa Bay 3, Kansas City 3.5. Instead of trading Seth Lugo, who everyone thought maybe he'll be on the block, they just said, no. What's your sources? Tell your sources this: we're going to extend him and keep him. Guardians without Clase, woof. Do they trade Stephen Kwan? That's a name that's been thrown into the fire. And I'll tell you what, a team that scares the absolute hell out of me in the American League is the Texas Rangers. I think they're going to be hot. I think they're going to be real hot. But then there's really the Twins, those already sold. There we are. But then look at the National League. Brad, I mean, the Giants are 6 out. Cardinals just sold 5 out. But you still have teams like the Reds, the Padres, just mentioned the Mets, the Cubs. And then you got the Brew Crew and the Phillies, where I just feel the Phillies are going to make another move.
Yeah, the Cardinals sent a really strong message just now, basically waving the white flag at doing anything in the playoffs if they even get there. But I still think that if that's the case, they got to be excited for 26, given the haul that they have, and provided the trade obviously works out. But I don't know, man. It's getting exciting. It's getting interesting. This is why we love the trade deadline. What's your initial reaction to what's happening here? What's your biggest takeaway from this?
I think the biggest takeaway, honestly, when we look at these moves, is that the sellers are going to cash in. Now, let's make this clear. If you're buying, it means your team, for the most part, You think you're going for it. And as a fan, I want that. I want to point that out. I want that. That means that you're hunting for a World Series. I want that. But if you're not, that's like Hence. You're in Baltimore here.
Yeah.
And I saw the name Andrew Kittredge being floated around. Sir Anthony Dominguez just went for a 10th overall prospect in the team's organization. And you could say, well, hey, it's a 10th prospect. What's that going to mean? Well, he could end up being nothing. Or you can sit back years later and go, damn, that could end up being a player. One example I like to give out.
Well, it's interesting here real quick before you make that thought, what you just said. So like, if you're in a situation where you're kind of sub 500, maybe you're not going to make a splash in the playoffs, kind of like the Orioles. There's a couple other teams. The Mariners could be in that conversation. There's plenty of other teams we could chat about in regards to that. I'm looking at Kansas City. You talked about Cleveland. Angels are buying. Is there like something to be said for doing both? And it seems as if so far the Orioles have done that, where they're not really necessarily selling, they're not buying either. Obviously, there's a lot more time to go before the deadline tomorrow, and anything can happen. But there is that like weird. If you're in the middle, you don't know if you're going to actually make the wild card or not. Where they're just trying to move chess pieces around rather than being straight buyers or sellers.
Yeah, and teams have to again identify what are you going to do. Like, what do you want to be? But it is the chess game. Are you in? You want to toy the water? Hey, what do you think about this situation? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
And teams then can make decisions. And maybe you're blown away by a team that you didn't think would want your player, but you made it kind of known, and whammy, there you are.
Yeah.
This is the part I wanted to point about. We're making this decision. June 4th, 2016. If I have that date correctly. June 4th, 2016.
Going back.
Do you want to know why I mentioned that date?
It's very random.
It's very random.
But go ahead.
That was the day the Chicago White Sox decided to acquire a pitcher from the San Diego Padres. Because at the time they needed a starter. It was midsummer, not even the deadline, but the team was 29-27. James Shields just signed a big contract with them the year prior, and then he goes to the White Sox because they think, okay, we're going to try to win. Now, obviously it didn't work out in the White Sox favor because it didn't end up giving them the results they wanted. But the player that was in that deal that went to the Padres was a 17-year-old prospect, which in the description of this article at the very bottom said this. I'm going to leave out the name for a second. He may need to move to third base, but some scouts think he can stay at short. And he has a chance to develop into an elite prospect with the hitting ability and size to eventually be a middle-of-the-order bat. That 17-year-old shortstop was Fernando Tatis Jr. So when we're talking about players that you might not think of at all, you're right. They might turn into the no-name player that you never continue to hear of.
Yeah.
Or one of these players could end up being a focal point in these deals. That's why you make these deals moving forward. That's why the Twins made this deal with the Phillies. That's why the Mets, they are going for it all. And that's why then the Giants and the Cardinals said, we'll take on these guys and we'll play the lottery game here and hope that these guys become stars.
Yeah.
And you guys can go chase your ring.
This is why, you and I have talked about this. You and I have talked hours about just front office moves, and this is one of the more fascinating things for me personally about these conversations because you just don't know, and that's what makes it fun. Take the serious notes about how it's a business and everything else. It's just a fun part about baseball, and look, there's trade moves that get made in football and everything else, but there is no. And I'm going to bring in and get Zach's opinion as he just showed up, but there is no. There's just nothing like the MLB deadline because of you just never know. It could be something great. To your point with Fernando Tatis Jr. And as I say that, Zach, some reactions from you as well, my man.
This was, you're talking about the deadline. This is the most exciting days in sports, but this, honestly, for the Phillies, I feel like this is an even bigger move for them than maybe the Mets. And I know now the Mets, when you talk about they got Rogers, they have Diaz, they have Helsley now. That's probably the best bullpen in baseball, at least the back three. But for the Phillies, it takes me back to Ryan talking to Jonathan Papelbon last year. And he flat out told us, you cannot win a World Series with closer by committee. Now, Ryan, can you guess how many Philadelphia Phillies have a save this year?
It's not high.
Well, it's very high because they've had to use multiple guys.
Sorry, I meant their saves leader.
Yeah.
I heard.
Saves leader is
a lot of saves, not a high saves leader.
Yeah, so they have 8 different guys with a save. Jordan Romano, who has a 6.81 ERA, he leads them in saves. Jose Alvarado has 7. Matt Strahm has 6. Kerkering has 2. Then you have a boatload of guys with 1. So for Helsley coming in and taking over that 9th inning and being that closer.
Duran on that one.
Oh, Duran. Duran. Getting Duran and making him that closer and just kind of sliding him in and being like, hey, 9th inning's yours. You're the guy we're giving the ball to. That is a massive upgrade for the Phillies. Not even by, obviously the Mets, they had Helsley, they had Rogers. That's now the making of probably the best overall bullpen. But I think the biggest impact, maybe long-term, from these few moves is going to be the Phillies finally have a guy that they can hand the ball to in the 9th, and they know who it's going to be. Yeah. They know who's getting the ball in the 9th, and it doesn't have to be a mystery.
It's a huge difference. And here's the part right now, actually, Zach, to put your words to actual visualization. Here's that list. And Jordan Romano is brought in to be one of those guys, like to be their closer, right? And Alvarado then, obviously, that suspension situation was, woof. That doesn't help.
Nope.
But when you look at this right now, okay, no one has more than 8 saves on their team. They have, if we're looking at that, they have 8 different guys with a save.
And it's July 30th.
And it's July 30th that we're talking about this. This move, the Phillies of what they did, and I saw people saying, does it win today? Do they lose? I think both teams win.
Yeah.
I think the Phillies got the best arm right now as far as for a closer. Helsley's great. It's just he's not the same Helsley he was last year to start. He's been very good. Duran's numbers, they're really good. It's a full run below ERA wise. I like the stuff and the split that he has. And they needed to make it, Zach. They had to make this move to make them better. And Helsley, I would even say when people watch him, I sometimes think that he kind of gives off the effectively wild feeling, just because I remember watching when he gets going. He's got such a power heater, right? I mean, so does Duran, no doubt about it. But profiling, and I might pull up his profile here in a second, Helsley hasn't walked a ton of guys by any means, but it's just not dominant. He's given up 36 hits in 36 innings. So think about that. Every time he's gone out there, he's given up a hit an inning. And for a closer, that kind of scares you a little bit. Kind of makes you worry.
Which I think that I was going to say, which maybe is part of the reason why the Mets opted for him, because he gets to take over that 8th inning role and not have to rely, because you do have Edwin Diaz. Maybe, they don't have to. He doesn't have to come in with the game on the line every single time.
Yeah, right now, Duran then in reference, almost 50 innings of work, 40 hits. So under it. And again, people are going to give it up. I want to get that out of here. They're going to give up the goods. But when you're trading for a guy and you're looking at least the stuff-wise, and I'm going to pull up Helsley's stuff as an example, just so people can understand my thought process behind it. Hey, it just is what it is, and they're different types of pitchers. Duran likes to focus on that split piece with his fastball, and he can work in that little bender as well. Mm-hmm. Helsley is mainly fastball slider. That's what he is. fastball slider, and it's a fastball that goes straight this way. You're going to see what I'm talking about. Straight this way, and the slider that cuts across. But if that slider's not on, that can get him into trouble. At least with Duran, he does throw a third pitch, at least enough where it can be in the mix. Helsley's mainly a two-pitch guy. And I'll show you guys real quickly. 3-2 whammy. Truly a two-pitch guy. So if that heater ain't working or that slider isn't hidden and you're able to pick it up, now it's easier said than done. Try to sit if a guy can't throw his slider for a strike, hey, just eliminate the pitch. Well, he's a closer for a reason. Makes you think a lot quicker. But there's that profile. So we're seeing that, right? There's the heater up top, whammy. There's a slider going across. Hey, how you doing? One more time for the one time for our guy Duran. I got it down here. In under 3 seconds, Zach, as always, you know the drill.
Boom. Oh, not yet. Boom. Still not yet.
Boom. You got it.
Hey, there we go.
Right there. So, like, look at the difference with that. At least with the curveball, it's a 21% 21% usage. So he at least throws it. It's not like out of the realm of possibility that he won't throw a third pitch. Now, does he want to throw his fastball and splitter? You're damn right he does. Those are his two best pitches. But it does help that he can do that. And the profile, you have two pitches that are kind of on that same angle, fastball and splitter, but then that slider or curveball, the bender, can go across here and get hitters a little bit off balance, which I think helps to his success. So that's all I got to say about that. And if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. Breaking news here that live reaction, Duran goes from the Twinkies to that Philly love in Philadelphia. Phillies going to be the closer there. And now Ryan Helsley, closer for the Cardinals. Well, he might not be in that closer role with Edwin Diaz in New York, but he has now become a part of arguably the best back-end bullpen in the game.
Yep.
As the Mets got not only get Helsley, they got Tyler Rogers earlier in the day, who has had a sensational year for the San Francisco Giants.
They got Soto earlier this week.
And they got Soto as well, lefty specialist that has great stuff, but as we know in Baltimore, has those good moments, and then some of the moments against righties, you're like, that wasn't good.
But now the Mets have enough tools in their shed in that bullpen.
Yeah,
where they can probably put him in more strategically than say the Orioles did.
For sure. Did Ohtani just get hurt? He just left the field after throwing 6 straight balls.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but I don't know if this is just a pitching. Let me see.
It's pitching.
Yeah, it was left today's start with athletic trainers after throwing 6 straight balls.
Okay. I hate it. I hate it for him. I guess we'll find out what happens. No denying that he will be a Hall of Famer just off of the bat itself.
Yeah.
Man, it's awesome to see when he is healthy as a pitcher, but that's something to monitor. And the Dodgers now, curious. I mean, not that they should completely rely on Ohtani as a pitcher, but they were kind of banking on him to be ramping up here. So that's a big thing to monitor because the Dodgers guys, they've been dormant a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's had what? Yeah. Was it 2 or 3 Tommy John surgeries for Ohtani?
2.
Pick number 2, my lord.
Yeah.
So, but I hope he's not hurt. But regardless, though, it's an example. The Dodgers had a ton of injuries. I know they're trying to get Snell back. I feel like they have to be the team that's going to make some moves. What I wonder, though, is looking at needs. The relievers are kind of drying up. Can we look at who are guys who is out there now?
So I had some players that I thought made a lot of sense. I think it would be interesting to see if the Rays are sellers, or who has what to offer for Fairbanks.
That is an interesting one right there, Mr. Peter.
Yeah. So, and then there's Jake Bird from the Rockies, has a 2.23 ERA and 3 years of control. So I think the Dodgers could go after Jake Bird from the Rockies. Other good fits, I think, for Jake Bird could be Yankees, Phillies. We already saw what Phillies have done, but who knows? Maybe they have some more trading. The Dodgers seem the most likely fit, in my opinion, for Jake Bird. And then I think that there could be a case to be made for Fairbanks. We've seen his name swirling around last season and even the season before then. But if the Rays are kind of throwing in the towel on this season and looking towards 26, maybe Fairbanks is also on that trading block as well. Zach, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, I love that you brought up because the Rays are just a team that it does not matter what is going on. They are always, it feels like, a 3-game losing streak away from being like, we will blow this up right now.
Yeah.
It's like you are having a great season. They're like, if we lose more than 3 games, we're done.
Yeah.
We're done. But I can't fault them for it because it's worked for them. It's worked for them. So if they truly feel like, they are out of it and they are not going to win a World Series this year with the current guys, I wouldn't be surprised. I think especially because of what I guess the price range for these guys already are, Fairbanks would get you an absolute haul. But I love, getting Yandy personally out of the division. But I think he would be a massive asset for any team because he's just a guy who gets on base. He is just a full production guy. And I think if any contender really wants to add offensively, Mariners, maybe a guy, Brad, like we were talking about, who just finds ways on base and isn't just a, so I would be very okay with them. I mean, as an Orioles fan, I wouldn't love the return that they would get, but I wouldn't be shocked at all. So the Rays blowing it up has happened many times before in season. I thought they had a chance.
They've blown it up and then they've become, and they're still competitive, which is
it's incredible.
Fairbanks is 2.75 ERA this season. Drastic improvement from even last season, which is, if you can believe that, 18 saves so far on the season as well. I just, maybe it's a long shot, but if you're looking for a closer, if you're trying to make a push in the postseason, why not see if he's available or for sale?
It's going to be very, very interesting. I know the other name, Joey.
Who's a closer for? Is there a closer for the Dodgers?
Well, they had Tanner Scott,
but he's been.
They were rumored. Duran was rumored to be in with the Dodgers. Like that they were very interested.
So the Dodgers are looking for a closer, basically.
Yes, they will take a closer. But then here's another closer.
Yeah, that's the next shoe to drop, I think.
What's it going to take now? Because he probably now.
Pirates have very clearly been sellers so far in the last 48 hours.
But what's it going to take to give up Bednar here? What's it going to take?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they haven't done it yet.
Well, and who's willing to give up what for Bednar?
And right now, 2.37 ERA, 51 Ks, going through it all for him right now. They don't have a lot of saves on the year. He got 17, hasn't blown a save this year.
Well, they haven't had a whole lot of games to save.
No, but 17 saves, no blown. It's good.
Yeah.
51 Ks in 38 innings. Very good. 32 hits in 38 innings. Very good. So I'm just saying, man, I now want to look at his contracts, his team control right now.
And as you're looking at that, Laura, this is the A's are buyers right now. If I had to take a guess, Mason Miller will never be for sale so long as the A's are continuing this upswing. The trend for them is just too strong. They're not going to give up a key player like Mason Miller.
And I mean, they floated. The only way that he ever gets traded is the deals that we're seeing. It's going to even be higher.
Yeah,
like it would if
especially in this market now, because relievers, because now it's so thin, they're becoming even more expensive. So if you are in the market for a reliever or a closer, you now have to pay even more than you did just 48 hours ago.
Yeah. Well, if the Phillies gave up their 4th and 6th best prospects for Duran, Mason Miller might get 2 of the top 4.
Yeah.
Like that's the price point that you would probably, if you're the A's. And again, people can say, well, that's ridiculous. Well,
that's the market right now.
Then they have leverage. They don't need to. It's not like he's on a expiring deal.
And Miller, there's an outside chance too that he wants to start again. I'm pretty sure. I know he'd be open to that, but
I would not be.
I mean,
he's such a good closer. There's no way I'm starting him anymore.
But it's possible. But I'm just saying, like, it's the team control aspect.
Sure.
And to go with David Bednar to close that part out, he's going to be going through his third year of arbitration next year and will be an unrestricted free agent in 2027. So a team's going to have him for one more year of ARB, and then you have a choice if you want to re-sign to extend him, whatever it's going to be. So it's a really, really tempting offer. And the Pirates, just like we're saying with the A's, all the leverage in the world.
Yeah.
All the leverage in the world about what you want to do. So I think that it's very interesting to watch. Again, I don't see Mason Miller getting moved unless it's something that completely knocks down the doors, because the A's have a great nucleus. They just have really underperformed, similar to me to what the Nats have done. The Nats need more pitching, but they have some nice pieces that are young. The A's with Kurtz, and I'm seeing, Wilson, Miller, they're really good. Like, they got some really good young talent. Butler at times too. Like, they got some guys. They got some guys, and maybe.
What about any thoughts on Jake Bird from the Rockies? I mean, obviously things are bad for them. Any chance that he goes somewhere, just given that he is probably the best pitcher on their team, reliever or starting? ERA 2.23.
I mean, yes, you take the calls, no doubt.
Yeah.
You take the calls.
I feel like you can get a good haul. Like, if you're in rebuild mode anyway.
I mean, they're they're definitely, you can call it a rebuild.
Whatever you want to call it.
Whatever you want to call it. They're doing something.
They don't have much to sell to teams. But if you're looking to add some talent, you got it. I mean, he's the one talent you have that you can, the one chip you have that you can pitch to, no pun intended, to other teams.
Yeah, that's literally good pun right there. Very good pun.
I was going to say, real quick, we have actually not necessarily trade news, but Wellington Arcena, who the Orioles got for Gregory Soto, made his organizational debut tonight at Delmarva, pitching 4 2/3 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk, 6 Ks, 62 pitches, up to 97 miles an hour. So it's why you talk about the talent that is getting moved for these relievers. Like, maybe not in the big rankings is Arcena, he's only 19 in the organization, but these guys have talent. Like, this is a very good player, very good prospect that the Orioles got back for Gregory Soto. So when you start to talk about guys 2 echelons above him, which is the Durans, I'll even put in, the Griffin Jackses, those upper guys, Helsley, they're going to command a massive haul.
Yeah.
No doubt about it, man. And this is why we're watching this all unfold. And this is why the trade deadline now, that we are under 24 hours from the deal being done. We're actually into the 21-hour mark, because at 6 p.m. tomorrow, all the deals are done. That is when the trade deadline is. And we have a whole lot more to talk about. And I saw this, Jonah. This will be something else. Ryan, do you think the Orioles trade Mullins to the Phillies? Well, I don't think that they're going to get, since Mick Abel's already on the way out, you weren't going to get him regardless for Seti. And you ain't getting Painter unless you give up some other prospects of your own. We're going to find out all this. And I mean, hell, if another move happens tonight, then Stop Traffic, we'll be back on to talk about it once again. Mm-hmm. But this is what we have going on. And tomorrow, you guys can set your calendar, set your phone from 2 to 6. We will be live with our trade deadline special. And if moves happen earlier in the day, we'll Stop Traffic, Brad. I guess we'll have to go live when the moves happen. So make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure you have the notifications turned on. And we got a whole hell of a lot to continue to talk about.
Some other stuff on Bednar. So I think the Yankees seem to be probably the biggest.
Yeah.
The most likely spot for somebody like Bednar.
Telling you, the Yankees, they could use it. And I know that Luke Weaver's had his struggles. Devin Williams, I like their guys in their back end, but you can never hurt adding another great arm
Yeah.
And I still think that the AL is completely wide open. It truly is.
You think Keller's also a piece that they'll trade?
I'm really curious when the starters are going.
Yeah.
That is probably, to me, we just saw the relievers going. When are some of these starting pitchers going? Because teams need them.
Yeah.
Cubs are one team that needs them. Dodgers, they need some arms. Now, I don't know if the Mitch Keller fits their profile type of thing. Maybe it does. They were saying that they were thinking about shopping Dustin May. Do you do this now with what's going on? I don't know. But that's going to happen. And I do believe in Baltimore there's going to be at least one starting pitcher that's going to be moved. I don't think every starting pitcher that's on the table for the Orioles will get moved.
No.
But you're looking at Charlie, Eflin, Sagano are the main three. Rogers and Dean, you ain't going anywhere.
Right.
We'll see you next year. A lot is going to be decided here. And you know what's interesting is that the bats haven't gone either.
I think it makes a lot of sense for the O's to trade away a starter, and maybe it is Charlie Sagano, sure. But Zach and I just talked about this before the show earlier today. I mean, Kyle Bradish is lighting it up down on the farm. He looks ready to come back up. Almost kind of makes sense that if they do trade away somebody in the starting pitching, that Kyle Bradish comes in and just fills in that spot. I would, if I were to have my GM hat on, it makes sense for me, in my opinion, to probably trade away Sagano. Most likely. I mean, Charlie Morton, sure, he's gotten better as the season's gone on, but Sagano seems to just be that solid pitcher that makes a lot of sense for a team who's looking for that, 3, 4, 5 rotation spot maybe.
Also another starter that's apparently on the trade market, Justin Verlander.
Oh God!
Apparently the Giants, according to John Morosi, they're saying, "Hey, we're gonna see if we can work something out if a team wants him." And Justin, over his last 2 starts, 10 innings pitched, 1 earned run. That is courtesy of John Morosi. So I'm curious. I don't know if these older starters like a Morton or Verlander, what the price tag is going to be.
I don't know what you get for them. I really don't.
I don't know why you would. I mean, no disrespect to Justin Verlander. Just if you've watched him pitch this year, the last 2 starts have been great, but I don't know what that's got to be a courtesy thing to try to get him on a winner. Like that, you can't be expecting to get prospects for that.
Yeah. Well,
or higher end prospects.
That goes for Charlie Morton too, which is why I think Sagano is probably the more attractive trade, and maybe Eflin, but Eflin hasn't been good either.
The health, this is how I break it down. Charlie has the most experience through everything.
Yeah.
And if you take out the brutal 6 weeks, he's been solid. And you take out the one outing when he came back from the All-Star break where he got lit up by Tampa, the last 2 months have been really good.
Yeah.
You can look at the month of July and go, whatever. That ERA looks a little high. Go back and look at what he's done for the last 2 months, not the first 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Stuff's still there. Has the most experience. Zach Eflin, to me, would have the most appeal of the 3, given the age, what he's proven. He's been dependable, but the thing that scares me, that could scare other teams, health.
Yes.
He hasn't been healthy this year, so he's not pitching to the caliber that he can. And when he started the season, he was very, very good. 3 of the first 4 outings, the Orioles won his starts. And he looked like a guy that was going to be looking at a top 2 or 3 in your rotation, maybe a 2 or 3 in your rotation.
Yeah.
But does a team want to worry? And Sagano, I'd put at the 3rd list. Brad, he's had a good year. I know that people want to say, he hasn't. He's had a good rookie year coming in.
Yeah.
It's good. It's been solid.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. He's just a solid, you need a solid 3, 4, 5 guy. Sagano's great for that.
But the only thing would be is he's unproven in the big leagues. So is there something there that when you get towards October and September in those games,
sure,
do you trust him? That's my only knock with Sagano. But as health-wise, I would trade for him. But Eflin one scares me for the injuries, and Charlie Morton I think can help a team. I just don't think a team wants to give up a ton to get a guy like that. So we're going to find out here, guys. We're close, and this is crazy. I'm seeing all the facial – the emojis, what's going on?
Wouldn't it be some shit if Steady? We know the Orioles have done plenty of trades with the Marlins, but if Steady goes to Miami for like a Sandy
No,
kind of trade.
ain't gonna happen though.
I mean, obviously
not
lots,
Marlins.
obviously lots of risk, but there maybe could be some upside.
Well, it's mainly just because I don't think the Marlins would want him solely because they're not ready to win right now. You know,
Yeah.
Sandy's the name I'm watching, though. I'm curious who.
If the Orioles are interested in Sandy, who do they trade for him though?
I think it would have to be a bat prospect, and I
Yeah.
think you'd give up a pitching prospect. I think they
Just
would.
prospects, no big leaguers.
Yep. No, I mean they could argue with the big league. Like that's what I'm saying. I know, and Joe in the chat, I'm sorry, Heston could be interesting to them, or Beavers, or somebody.
Yeah.
And a pitching prospect, because the Marlins are still trying to hoard those guys. The Marlins aren't going to trade Sandy unless it's an overpay. So I'll put it that way. I don't see what big leaguer that they would take from the Orioles right now that would make sense for their roster. And the Orioles, outside of the guys we mentioned, they're not going to have an interest in O'Hearn or Cedric.
Right.
No one's going to trade for Tyler O'Neill right now. Even though he's looked good, you got to take on the
Never say never.
next year. You never say never, but you know.
Also, just really fast, Shohei Ohtani is remaining in the game as a DH, which forget that they have that rule for him, but he is, I guess, good. Which makes me feel better because someone quote tweeted him walking off with the trainers and said, "Oh my God, #hugwatch." And I was like, okay, that was good. But now that I know he's good, I can laugh at that and not feel bad.
Yep. Well, guys, I think we're getting close to wrapping this up for now, just because it could be live again soon. We might try to take a chance to get home, Brad. We might try to go home here and, get out of the studio. But Fatos fan, I see you. Been a member for 15 months.
Wow.
And you're right. It's going to be a hectic 21 plus hours here, and we are approaching that number right meow. And if anything happens from here to now, meow, we'll be live again to talk about it. But keep this in mind. At least for Baltimore fans, there's only been a domino. When do the dominoes start to fall here? I guess 2 dominoes have fallen, but only one during this week. Sir Anthony Dominguez made the clubhouse to clubhouse jump. And for the rest of the Orioles, then you're wondering, could they stay? Are they going? Who's getting the bag? Who's the shocking move that's going to be made? Is it in Baltimore, or hell, is it around Major League Baseball? Because teams who think they can win, they're going to be desperate here. So on the way out here, hit that like and subscribe button, guys. Appreciate each and every one of you. We're not cueing the music because it's not our regular show, okay? Don't get mad at me. I don't make the rules. I make the rules.
Oh, also,
my name's on the show.
Yeah, Freddie Freeman, home run already, 5 straight. People are wondering, they let the kid get hot. Unfortunate for the rest of the world. They let the kid get hot.
It's you had a bad 6-week stretch. It's like in baseball.
I'm like the Orioles. I had a bad streak. The 0 for 9 is really holding back the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Well, Zach, I'm proud of you. And for everyone that tailed Zach, congratulations. You're starting to get closer to making your money back. Still well in the negative, but you're getting closer.
That's because that 0 for 9 put us really far back. That was not great.
Well, guys, appreciate you, Brad. Any final words?
No.
All right, guys.
Thanks for tuning in.
Appreciate you. Have a day. Have a night. But, man, we might see you later on tonight because the trade deadline doesn't sleep as we approach it. But hit that like and subscribe. Turn on the notifications. And if we don't see you the rest of the night, well, we plan to see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern time right here on the Ryan Ripken Show, YouTube, X, and Facebook. Be good. And, Brad, let's get the heck out of here.
All right. Peace.
Woo!